And typically those who don't have the money are probably those who are people of color, and they don't have the opportunity to buy the glamorous costumes and all of that kind of stuff. And those types of folks probably don't live in the country of the origin of the dance.
Welcome back to Beyond the Steps, produced by Apolla Performance Wear and Turning Point Dance Creations. We are back this week with Iona Wilson of Lotus Belly Dance for week 2 of our March series. And today we're going to dig a little bit deeper. We're going to start talking about race and representation in belly dance. Who is centered, who is left out, and what is truly inclusive in the belly dance community. This is a conversation that we need to have, and we are so honored to have Iona back. Welcome.
Thank you. Happy to be back.
Iona, when we talk about race and representation in belly dance, what does the landscape actually look like right now? Who's being centered? As Melissa said, who is being left out?
Oh, really good question. So today I'll say in my local area, it's a little bit better. I would say it's a little bit better in that we are starting to see more belly dancers of color being visible in the dance space. I'd say, as opposed to like 4 or 5 years ago, the average US based belly dancer was a white woman. The and the There were black and other women of color dancers. We were around. But when you walked into a classroom, even as a student, you just didn't see them. Now when you walk into classrooms or when you go to workshops or conferences, like when I go to conferences where there's like hundreds of students, or at the conference, or dozens of people in like 30, 40, or go to anything like that, I will see a blend of people there, different races and different sizes. It's a nice to see now. So it is certainly getting better. Our work is not done. Our work is not done, but it has certainly gotten better. Um, the other places we can see it is in the performance groups where there are troops that would perform around the city. When I first started belly dancing, the performance groups were all white women, and they all looked the same way. They were all shaped the same way, and then it looked nothing like me at all, not at all. Now, when I see the calls for auditions, the women are all different shapes and sizes. They are all different colors. Women of color are applying. It's great. There's definitely a great bit of progress. Again, our work is not done. I still hear rumblings every now and then. I do. I just heard one last week, and I didn't see the details. But I was not pleased, but so again, our work is not done, but it is getting better, and I am happy to hear that.
Yeah, so I think my next question might touch a little bit on what you were just saying. We know that belly dance originates from cultures that are often underrepresented or misrepresented in Western spaces. So how does that dynamic play out in studios, in performance companies, at conferences, at competitions, if that's something that's prominent in the space?
There was a post recently, a person, I don't know if what their gender was, but said, "Hey, when it comes to competitions, specifically, you know, those who have the money can compete. Those who don't have the money cannot compete." And typically, those who don't have the money are probably those who are people of color, and they don't have the opportunity to buy the glamorous costumes and all of that kind of stuff. And those types of folks probably don't live in the country of the origin of the dance. Like, ooh, not good. Also, the stylistic of the outfits weren't conducive to the origin of the acceptance of the style of the dance. And I was like, "Oh, not good, not good." And, um, and then, just how the classes were taught. If they were taught in certain rooms where maybe they were not conducive to allow certain people to come in and certain people not to come in, again, so you were starting to isolate people. It was, not very inclusive in such a way, and so it was just really becoming a problem to those who are of origin of the dance. And I was like, "Man, we are not doing this thing right at all." And you start thinking about it, right? And this is not just a US thing, right? This was a global thing, right? European countries, US countries, like all of us, like we were not I was like, "Man, we are not landing this thing right at all." And these were the people who were registering this were people who were from the Middle East, North African areas, and they were saying, hey, if you want us to be a part of it, you have to consider these things. And that was a part of the problem. We're like, okay, not landing it. The pricing of the conferences, the price was too high. We could afford it, they couldn't afford it.
So that's like a really great segue into this. So, do you think that dancers of Middle Eastern or North African heritage can feel a level of concern with this cultural art form being practiced and sometimes profited from by others? Is that a concern? And then my sub question to that, well, answer that first, then I'll ask my other.
I think only to the point, and I can't speak for them, but I think only to the point that they cannot, right? I think I've not heard anyone say, I have a problem with you profiting from it. It's only to the point where I cannot. So if you want to do it, okay, but I should be able to do it too. And so as long as I can profit from it, hey, then it's great. It's great. But make it in such a way that I too can profit from it. And that's kind of the problem that I've seen. Yeah.
Reducing accessibility is the problem. Like you can profit, but you should not reduce accessibility.
Yeah, I've not heard someone say, "You shouldn't do it, only we should do it." I've not so much, not so much. I've more so seen, how can we do it too?
And then this is a question that I asked Asha. I don't know, it has to be a couple years ago now when we had Asha on, Melissa. We talked about hip hop. I had asked her this. Is it better if you cannot teach this appropriately, right? Like, is it better to not teach it at all? Or is it better to expose people to this whole other world of dance, even if it is in the bare minimal form, and have them find, kind of that deeper training on their own and only do what you can do? Is it better to teach it and put a spotlight on it and integrate it into somebody's soul and integrate it into somebody's passion? Or is it better to not do it at all?
I don't think the art form is meant to be perfect. So if I wouldn't say, well, if I can't do it right, I shouldn't do it at all. And I think what the part of what's made this dance as long living as it has been is because somebody has picked it up and carried it so far. And then they picked it up and they carried it so far. And none of those individuals were perfect in their carrying it, but they were intentional in their carrying it. And so um, I think that's okay that they were able to do that. They said, I may not be the best person to do it, but I will carry it. And as in doing so, the dance still lives. And so in doing that, somebody saw it and said, "Hey, you know what? I want to do that." And so they picked that up, and that might have inspired them to go and learn from the source as a result, which is good, because then that person may have had the means or the ability to then maybe make trips every year to Egypt and then go learn the correct way, or whatever the proper way, if you will, the proper way to do it, and then really turn it into, you know, the proper format.
I love your answer because I think it's in line with what we should be saying and do say in the dance world, which is progress, not perfection, right? It really kind of falls in line with that whole message. So I think it's a perfect answer. But thank you. Thank you.
And there's also an intent there. Back to, in the first episode, you were saying, be honest about what you don't know. If you're picking it up and you realize, listen, hey, folks, I'm going to teach this. I don't know that this is what I do know, and this is what I don't know, and this is where you might be able to find the information that I don't know. Like, don't gatekeep where the actual information is just because you don't know it. And so that the intent behind picking it up and rolling with it and not acting like you're the authority is probably also where that helps a lot. That was a good answer, Iona. I love that. I love that. Thank you. Thank you so much. So we unfortunately have to wrap this episode up. We're getting to the end of this segment, but the good news is Iona is coming back next week to talk even more about this, and we can learn more. And learning is what we love here at Beyond the Steps. And we'd love for you to learn even more by taking the Steps Initiative, which lives on the Apolla website. And that is a free series of modules on race, gender equity and inclusion, medicine and science, psychology, nutrition, you name it, it's there, and it is totally free and anybody can take it. So we please encourage you to go and take that free module. We also encourage you to go back and not only watch Iona's first episode on YouTube or Facebook at TP Dance Creations or at Apolla Performance, but also all the episodes of the whole 6 years of Beyond the Steps that we have been doing this. The whole library is there. The first 2 seasons, just watch. Don't critique because we were learning, but now we got it all together here, and we're super happy to have that out there for everybody to use. So Iona, real quick, if you want to tell everybody how they can get in touch with you, where they can take classes, and learn from you.
Yes, absolutely. So visit us at our website. You can sign up for a class, www.lotus-studios.com. You can find us on Instagram at Lotus Belly Dance NC, Facebook at Lotus Belly Dance NC, or YouTube at Lotus Belly Dance NC. That's for North Carolina. See you there. Or we have classes online and in person, live online and in person.
Iona, thank you. This conversation is so necessary, and we're grateful for your honesty, your expertise, your thoughtfulness. Next week, we're going to be wrapping up our guest series with Iona, and we are tackling age and gender in belly dance, 2 topics that don't get nearly enough airtime.